Hi, this is LauraJthe.Treetalker, and today I'm doing a 5-card reading from my deck and on things that we need to have our attention on. So I'm going to shuffle a little bit. I do it in 2 parts because there's so many of them. I find that if I do tarot card readings, it's the same thing. I always just ask, what do we need to be having our attention on? And that's it. Okay. Okay, I will just sort of pick anything. Okay, the first card I have drawn is stuck to the card behind it. There you go. It is Mangrove, which is strength in numbers. And strength in numbers is pretty obvious, I would think. I would think when I say what do we need to have our attention on, I mean like all of us collectively. I would say not just the United States or, you know, a particular side of the fence or anything. It's just strength in numbers is always the way to achieve your ends because you have the populace behind you. And the second card is Teak. And it is to span. And that would be to reach across, to span a gulf, to cross a divide. Okay. And then we have the Nepal Utas. Don't ask me. I think what it's a kind of birch. I think birch or beech maybe, and it is regal, which means keeping your dignity, don't getting down in the gutter to get your point across, and not to go with brute force, but to, yeah, self-dignity, I would say. And then we have the Scotch pine. And it is tribal. Ah, okay, so that means that things are still pretty tribal, and that is something you kind of have to work against. But there's nothing wrong with tribes. Human beings are tribal animals, and it's naturally, which just depends on what we focus the tribe around, whether it's family or country or a football team or whatever it is. But we like, you know, another strength in numbers one. Okay, and here's the last one, and it is Jacaranda, cleave to. All right, cleave to. Now, cleave to, I think the only time you ever hear a phrase like that is when you're talking about marriage in kind of an old-fashioned way. But it means being attached to, in a faithful way, to whatever you have promised yourself to, devoted yourself to. Now, since we're talking about current events, these things, I think I'm going to turn this around so people can see them. which means I have to fiddle with the screen. Okay. I don't know if you can see that real well. Okay, so the first one I pulled was mangrove. Mangrove strength in numbers, like I say, it's pretty obvious if you are, and let's be honest, at the moment we're doing battle. And there's two sides, and they believe in their own thing, and they are willing to fight for it. So strength in numbers is important. And after that, we had teak, which is to span, and that is like to span a gulf. And in this situation, I would say that is spanning the gulf between not just two sides, but it was interesting. I was hearing this morning on a show on TV about that. Is it today or tomorrow? Tomorrow is like the anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War for us. I believe that's true. At any rate, that was more or less what was said. And that it was important for us to look back at that time and see that it was kind of where the division in this country really started out. So if you think about it, there was World War II and the Korean War, and people were, like very patriotic, and it was a great big war effort. And that's when the United States began to be a leader in the world. Before that, we were a bit isolationist. And then the Vietnam War happened, and several successive presidents decided that they couldn't lose, even though it had been told people, all these presidents had been told that there was no chance that we could win this war. There was no chance. And yet they didn't want to quit because they didn't want to be the one to say, oh, well, I'm the one that was president when this war was lost. So there was the draft. And it really messed everybody up because it was almost all men at that point. There were a few women, but they weren't in combat. But there were at least 58,000 American kids who were killed over there, and God knows how many people wounded, and the psychic wounding was huge. So and people to get out of the draft would, fake illnesses, or they would go to Canada, or they would do whatever. Or college was a good one too. But and college wasn't as expensive then as it is now. But these people would, and they carried this stuff with them forever. Now, a lot of the people from that are of my age. I'll be 76 next month. And it did incredible psychic damage to the American public because we didn't trust the government anymore. It's like they were willing to sacrifice all these young guys, and most of them were not rich, and they were from the poorer classes most of the time, not all of them, but most of them were. And there was a heavy number of black guys, and it was just terrible, 58,000 people. And not to mention all the people in Vietnam. My God, there were probably hundreds of thousands of people, not just soldiers, but the populace. So it was huge. And so I personally think that one of the main things is that the people who are angry and say voted for a certain guy because they didn't think that a certain party was on their side or didn't care about them or whatever, You need to remember that guy said he had bone spurs, which he probably, if he was playing football, he didn't have bone spurs. But at any rate, so I think that the main thing this card is talking about is to span the gap between the people who just say, you know, we don't trust the government. We don't trust the government. And no matter what you say to us, we don't trust you. And that needs to be addressed, worked through. And maybe, you know, maybe people can't be apologized to, but who knows how it'll turn out. But that's what, in my mind, that's what it means. And so, what was next? Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is a beech tree of some kind. Like I say, I think it means staying out of the gutters. Saying, okay, each of us has within us a higher self and a lower self. And it doesn't mean that your higher self never engages in conflict, but they do it with some self-dignity and some belief that there is a certain way to, you don't just, it's not no holds barred and everybody can do whatever they damn well please to hurt each other. I mean, that is not what that means. So it's a matter of doing it with dignity and honor, I think. And that's, to me, that's what that means. And then tribal, yes, but the tribes don't have to fight. Tribes are just the way we organize. And, you know, as in football teams, you don't have to want to kill, you know, okay, Kansas City lost this thing, doesn't mean they want to kill the team that won, you know. Please don't do that, cat. So the tribes need to come together in unity. It's almost like units in the military. I'm about to punch my cat because she's deciding she's gonna get off. Come on, go, goodbye. Okay, so that to me that means it's okay to have the tribes, but not be divided. And of course, you know, being aware that being tribal can mean divided, but you have to see broader than that, because tribal is a very basic thing. It's like your family. And if you just fight for your family against everything else, then you're going to be at war all the time. So your tribe needs to be bigger than, you know, the red or the blue. It needs to be the world. It needs to be humanity. It needs to be life itself, that kind of tribe. And then we have cleave to. And in my mind, that means that you are faithful to your cause, to your tribe. And if your tribe is the country, is the state of the world, is of the environment, is a planet Earth, then you stick to that and you make sure that you are giving it your all. And if you need to go through some kind of research or working out what that means because you don't understand your tribe or because you don't understand what's going on, it's easy enough to be informed. And I think that's what's necessary here. So, all right, so you have strength in numbers. Strength in numbers is how many of us there need to be working towards good. We have the tribe which needs to be bigger than what we're making it. It's not just your family or your football team, but the whole thing, the whole planet Earth, humanity. And then we're, this one, having some dignity about it. We're having whatever we need to learn or do to span our differences and get along. And we have cleave to, faithful to the cause. And that's what I see these things meaning at this point. So we'll do this again. This is LauraJthe.Treetalker, and thank you for watching, and give me a like and subscribe. And you can go away now if you want, and I'm going to pick up some pictures to go along with these trees. So I hope you have a good rest of the week. Bye. All right, trees. Okay, let's look up. All right, let's look up Scotch pine. I'm doing this for my friend Sylvia, who wants to see the pictures. Okay, give me a big one. Ooh. Size are you? Big, I hope. Go away. Oh. All right. All right, so we got that. And what's over here? That must be just the leaf type things. I'm not close enough to this computer to show you real well. Did I do that one? I did. Okay. All right, there's pine cones. And okay, that's it on that one. So, all right, so now we're gonna go and look for teak. Get out of full screen. Come on. See, most of this is going to get edited out. Ooh, look at that. Okay. And it's funny because we... Come on, don't do that. All right, so there is a picture of the teak. Now, a lot of trees look kind of alike, you know. What am I coughing up there? Something to buy, no doubt. Yep. Okay. So, oh, go away. See, they're big trees. All right. Mangrove. Now, mangrove is a really interesting tree. You find it on coasts, and it's a really important ecosystem where a lot of animals come to breed there, and because we've kind of pulled these things out in a lot of cases. And it really does a lot of destruction to coastlines, plus it makes these animals closer to extinction. And a lot of these animals are things that we like to eat. So, all right. But they're along coastlines. That's too small. That's a better one. Oh, come on. Okay, and there's three different kinds. There's red, black, and white mangrove, and they kind of go in succession. So in terms of in the water, like one of them, I forget all this stuff. One of them is entirely in the water, and one of them is halfway, and the other one's almost entirely above the coastline. But they filter out all kinds of stuff, and they protect the pollutants and stuff. They are a breeding area for animals, and they protect the coastline from hurricanes. So the fact that we come down, goodbye, don't do that. Exit full screen. So then we have the Nepal Utis. Like I say, I think this is a beach. Okay. Ah, no, it's an alder, I think. Okay. Too small. Oh, well, doesn't matter. Well, that's a good one. Stupid. Don't do that. Ooh. Okay. Well, I'll post these on my community page too. But it's an alder. Now, I don't know enough about trees. I mean, being a tree person, I should know more about them, but I don't. Okay. All right, and then there's the jacaranda. So okay. Very purple. Perfect. All right. Come here, you. Hello. There. Okay. All right. See, it's very pretty. I mean, I imagine there are times of years where it doesn't have pink flowers all over it, but that's what it is. Anyway, so we've got all these really pretty things. And I will post 5 cards together on my community page, plus a picture of each one of these trees in a separate posting. I will probably try to make a short out of this thing because people's attention span is really low. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching old movies. I got Amazon Prime, and for some reason they know that I like Jane Austen, so they've been showing me all these Jane Austen movies, which I own all of them, but it's all right. I always watch them anyway. I mean, I've probably watched 1995's Pride and Prejudice about a dozen times now. It's because whatever. Anyway, so there's that. Anyway, so I hope that you have a good week, and I will probably post something towards the end of the week, and I will talk to you all later. So that's it. This is LauraJthe.Treetalker. I never know what to say. Okay, so that's who I am, and we'll see you later. Bye.